everyone, my name is Omri Hurwitz. I work in paid media for Wadi Digital. We're a technology marketing company, and today I'm truly honored to have Oren Zeev as my guest. Oren is one of the most successful venture capitalists in the world, with a high and very impressive portfolio, some including Houzz, Audible, Trip Actions, and more. Obviously, there's so much we can talk about, but the thing that is so fascinating for me is the way Oren handles his venture capital as a one-man show, no partners, no investing committees, and not even a physical office. Definitely not the traditional way. Oren, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Omri.
So, Oren, how and why did you decide to become an independent one-man venture capital running your business from a coffee shop?
Well, I had been a traditional venture capitalist for 12 years prior. So I've been there, done that. The partnership model, I didn't feel I was missing out on anything because I knew exactly what it meant. And if there was one thing I knew, even before I knew that I wanted to do venture, after the 12 years doing it traditionally, was that I didn't want to do venture in the form of a partnership. So it almost like by default, it wasn't like a strategic decision. It was, oh, I don't feel like, getting partners, been there, done that, been frustrated for many years. So just started to roll and basically developed. I could not have imagined when I started that it would get to this scale that it has.
Is it easier to work that way? Like to be on your own, not having to talk to anyone, not having to be an account to anything?
For me, it's night and day, yes. Everything takes 100th of the time. I want to make a decision. Often in meeting a founder, after the first, I don't want to say 10 minutes, but maybe the first hour, the first 24 hours, I know I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In my old world, now I started a process of about a month, writing a 30-page memo, checking the box on all sorts of things that I thought were unnecessary just because one of my partners may have a concern, which I didn't think was a concern. I had to go and do a lot of work just to prove that it's not a concern. And many times I could not get it approved as well. So I didn't even have the certainty that I'll get it approved. So, and this is just one example, but basically every facet of my work just has become, in my opinion, 100 times easier.
So it doesn't mean you're not working extra hard right now when you're alone. Like
no,
checking
it's the opposite.
More stuff.
It's the opposite. In my old firm at Apex, maybe I had, in any given time, maybe I had 3 or 4 companies that I was on the board of, and I was working, easily 12 hours a day. Today I have 20 companies I'm on the board of, and I may be working 3 hours a day. So it's just a lot more efficient.
It's unbelievable. Do you think you can take this same work structure and implement it in different industries? Like let's say for marketing, do you think a big marketing agency can the owner can become a one-man show and marketing and in other industries as well?
I think it's dependent on the business and the industry, because some businesses do have economies of scale, or many businesses, or most businesses have economies of scale, but not every business. And I think venture is a good example where I do not believe it has economies of scale in terms of the number of people. I don't know the specific areas well enough to tell to what extent you need, but I can totally see that a great recruiter can do better as a one-person operation than a firm, because so much energy in any organization is being deployed on internal processes and politics and also different agenda. Mm-hmm. There is each person in an organization has their own agenda, as opposed to having 100% alignment between the firm and the person who is the firm and the agenda of the firm. So, mm-hmm. and the person, which is just one and the same. And so I don't know, but I can easily see recruiting may lend itself to it. Marketing can lend itself to it. Yes. PR, yes.
Mm-hmm. And what are the most important things when you look into a potential investment? Like right now you're working by yourself, so you need to filter out things more quickly probably. So what is like the three main things you look into before making an investment, before meeting the entrepreneur?
Meeting the entrepreneur takes me 1 minute, or even less, a few seconds. Basically, either I have to feel that the entrepreneur is proven, someone I know and is already proven, or there has to be some proof points in the business, in the deck that he sent me, like customers, revenues, traction, something. Mm-hmm. Once I meet the company, I would say I have to like the founders. Like them in two senses, like them as individuals, but also like them as I can love someone, but not think that they're a good founder. So I have to like them both in the sense of, I think they're great entrepreneurs and I like them personally. I want to hang out with them. I want to spend time with them. And I have to believe that there is an opportunity to really bring something new to the world. Meaning there is an opportunity to build a market leader in a new space, or maybe reinvent an existing space, but really build a market leader. Not do something me too just because someone else is making money. Hey, let's do the same thing and let's make money too. That is of no interest.
Mm-hmm. So you've been working with so many entrepreneurs, and what is like the most preferable leadership style you resonate with? Obviously, there's so many different leadership styles, but what do you think is like the number one quality for an entrepreneur?
So first of all, honestly, this is something that I think the context is so context dependent. And I think there's no, at least I've not found any one size fits all. Mm-hmm. And so the short answer is, I don't know. I'm very open. And I really judge not based on some kind of external style, not whether they're polished or not. And the one thing I would say is some entrepreneurs are stronger on the perception, hyping things upside, and some are stronger on the execution side. And and sometimes the former actually are very successful, especially in frothy markets, in raising a lot of money. You know, WeWork could be an example, right? I am personally attracted to people who are less about perception and hype and more about substance. And I think they're also more attracted to me. So I think that there is so I naturally kind of like end up with entrepreneurs who are more about substance than appearance.
And is there a certain preferred way you like to be pitched by an entrepreneur? Obviously, you don't have a secretary, so you're just, what is like the preferable way if someone wants to reach out to you?
Well, if someone wants to reach out to me, first of all, if they reach out cold, I don't have time to deal with it. So first of all, they have to be introduced by someone I trust, or they have to, but as I said, or they've had to already accomplish a lot. And just being honest here, someone who has just started and maybe great idea, maybe a great entrepreneur, and it may end up to be the next Airbnb, but I would probably not engage at that stage. I would only engage if the founder is known to me, or they are already accomplished something in the previous company, and I'm getting a warm introduction, or if in this existing business they already have the beginning of traction. Mm-hmm. But in terms of how to pitch me, no. Someone can pitch me with a presentation, without a presentation. I don't. I flow with whatever the other side. I don't have any boxes that someone has to fit themselves into. So whatever the entrepreneur feels she's more comfortable with in terms of pitching.
For a young entrepreneur, someone who's in school right now, or even someone who decided to forego school and go his own way, what are like the main advice you would give him?
First of all, it's hard because I've not been myself in that spot. Okay, because I went from school to I worked for IBM for several years. Then I went to business school. Then I worked for Apex for many years. So I only got on my own at a much later stage. So first of all, I would say that, it's okay to also get experience. You don't have to necessarily. There is a lot of glorification around entrepreneurship, but I don't think, even if you you want to be an entrepreneur, you can do it now, but it's not like you can, it's not like you can get more experience and do it a little bit later. So first of all, don't feel like you have to, right? Do it just because it's the norm, or that's the glorified thing to do. But if despite everything, you're really passionate and you want to pursue something, I think that typically getting a strong partner, co-founder, is important. It's rare that a single founder succeed on their own. And usually it's even more rare when they're inexperienced. And besides that, it's better if you can prove as much as possible with as little money as possible. So just to give you one example, the Houzz founders, when they started, for the first year, they kept their regular jobs. They did it as a hobby, and they used zero money, not their own, not anyone else's. And yet, after a year, they had actually surprisingly a lot to show for. Mm-hmm. And when I met them after they've been doing it for a year, it was a no-brainer for me. I immediately said that I would back them. But to be honest with myself, if they pitched me the same idea a year earlier, it would be as good as an idea. I would never have invested in it, because I wouldn't have the clairvoyance to know that it's going to be successful.
Obviously, right now, with everything that has been happening with the corona, we've seen a lot of companies go to remote work. Also, the companies you invest in. What do you think about, first of all, what is your opinion about remote work? And secondly, do you think this is something that could be like the new regulation, everybody working remotely?
Yes. So first of all, I gotta admit that it totally surprised me how smooth the move to work from home was. Every single company, 20 companies, it went super smoothly. Not only that, many of the companies are reporting increases in productivity, mm-hmm. especially employees who don't have young kids, which is amazing, right? Because basically you're saving all the chit chat, all the in the office and the distractions and the commute and everything. And I think this was the aha moment, not just for me, but for basically every company and every individual. It's just an amazing experiment that nobody could have planned. And it went better than anyone could have expected. So that's number one about work from home. Post-corona, I think we'll see a hybrid approach to what was before the norm and what is now the norm. I think that companies are going to be way more liberal in allowing anyone who wants to work from home to work from home. So I don't know if they're going to mandate it or force it, because some people may still want to prefer to go to an office, but for sure they're going to be much more allowing of that. And they might also have, maybe I can imagine that they can have work from office Mondays, mm-hmm. For example, or Fridays, that once or twice a week everyone comes to the office, so that there is an opportunity for brainstorming and get to see. But the rest of the time, people are either encouraged or at the very least allowed to work from home. And I think that at least technology companies, number one, it's easy to work from home because everything is in the cloud and everything is just technically it's easy. But also, it's also easy to measure productivity. At the end of the day, you're measuring people by their outputs, not by their inputs. And it's easy to measure in most professions, relatively easy to measure. Mm-hmm. So as long as someone is providing the goods, why not let them work? It's actually cheaper for the company. And more productive for many people. So that's awesome. I think that from that perspective, I think Corona has changed the world. And I would not want to be in commercial real estate right now, because I think you don't want to own office space that you need to rent out, because I think the demand is going to come down even post-Corona.
So shared office spaces, do you think that that'll be the next big thing right now?
No, I think shared could be very challenging business right now, because I think there'll be less demand. Mm-hmm. There'll just be less demand for space.
But if they're coming also only for like 2 days a week, so they
maybe Maybe, and maybe companies can share maybe two companies can share an office by the days. You get it for 2 days, you get it for 2 days, and the third company will get it for 1 day a week. Maybe.
That's awesome.
I don't know. Could be. I don't know. I don't know. That could happen. But in general, I would not want to have a lot of office space right now, regardless of the model, regardless whether it's monthly or not monthly. I would not want to own a lot of office space right now.
What kind of companies do you think are gonna hit big right now post-corona? What type of tech companies?
Yeah, so I think any company that is all the digital modern companies that enable remote work, remote education, for example, remote healthcare. All these companies, I think we're doing well before, but I think they're going to get a big push. There's a host of and many other areas. It was not an exhaustive answer.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I have one last question for you. Is there a certain hobby or like a mindfulness routine or technique that you do that helps you stay focused and calm?
Yeah, I practice yoga several times a week. I surf several times a week. But I think the best practice is that I don't try to cram as much as possible in every day. So I leave a lot of time just for that, just downtime. It's not like prescribed reflection time, but you just give space. And then when I walk my dog, I can daydream and think of things. And
that is awesome. So Oren, thanks a lot for being here. I really appreciate it, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Omri, and best of luck with the podcast in general. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.